Welcome to another Numbering the Days channel word study. Today we are studying the word righteousness. It is part of the foundation of Yah's throne. And last week we did the word for throne itself because we're doing a mini-series here on the throne from Revelation 3:21. The throne that Yeshua Jesus, our Messiah, has promised we get to sit on with him if we overcome. I am going to review all the various spellings of this word so that we get the complete understanding, and it will surprise you what we find in the end. We will be reviewing a few verses from Psalm 89, so watch all the way to the end. Let's get started. Okay, it's week 27, and we're doing the word righteousness. This is a part of the foundation of the throne we hope to get to sit on as overcomers. And we're going to go through 3 different spellings of this word. Okay? There's a word that's also been translated as righteous in a very small fraction of the time that word's in Scripture. It's Yashar, H3477, but it's not the word used in relation to the throne like in Revelation 3:21 or in Psalm 89. So we're going to use the word that is there, which is Zadok. Its root is a 3-letter word, Zadi Dalet Kuf. Now this spelling of the word is a verb and a noun. There's 2 different Strong's numbers that basically have the same meaning, whether it's a noun or a verb. And I wanted to point out that this is not the word Zadok, even though it may sound sort of similar. Zadok has got a cough on the end and not a kuf. So I just wanted to point that out. The basic meaning of this word is to be right, just, virtuous, you were justified, acquitted, to be right, to have a just cause, to be vindicated, to be declared righteous, correctness. It also includes salvation, deliverance, and victory, although like salvation and deliverance I can think of other words that also mean that. It also means to speak the truth or what is right. And I also found in Klein's that it's the planet Jupiter. That may be probably a modern meaning, but I thought it was kind of funny to put here. They've decided that Zadok is the planet Jupiter. Okay, so for biblical usage, these are the 2 different Strong's numbers that I found, and I just wanted to compare. Everything is kind of gray is the same. Cleansed kind of sticks out, clear ourselves, righteous cause. Unrighteousness would definitely not be, would be off, you would think. And of course it's got a couple of miscellaneous meanings that didn't meet any of these. But anyway, it's the word Zadok. And in its components we have Zadi Dalet, which is in Klein's as the side or flank of something or a party in an argument, which is very interesting. And we have Dalet Kuf, which is in Klein's and in Strong's in a couple places, and its meaning is a very little thing, small, thin, lean, something crumbling as it's been crushed, so now it's tiny. And also curtain, because in like Isaiah 40 verse 22, it's the heavenly curtain that stretched over us. It's Dalet Kuf. Okay. When I looked at these component words, I came up with nothing. There was just nothing I could see here to, you've crushed your opponents you've crushed the party in an argument, which doesn't necessarily make sense. So I just put none. If you can think of a good meaning by combining these 2 things, please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Really, I really would. My only thought was that sometimes the smallest thing can cause a problem that people take sides on and can, for the right or wrong reasons, then call the other side unrighteous. I mean, I thought, okay, 2 people, parties in an argument, and here we've got unrighteousness, and we're trying to justify and clear ourselves, and I thought, oh, this is what came and popped into my mind, actually, and I thought, then in our legal system, it will sometimes call someone acquitted over the smallest error of the police. over the smallest little thing that happens, that very thin, lean thing that's happening, and all of a sudden someone is acquitted. Those were the thoughts that I had. Okay, when I looked at the letters, I've got a decision for righteousness has been chosen and elevated into place above others, above other options. You've decided on something and raised it up because this is the righteous argument, or this is the righteous one out of many. I've also seen where one side of an argument has been lifted up to a higher level, or the banner of righteousness is lifted up on the pathway, because the dalet refers to doorways and pathways and portals. So that's what came to mind when I thought about the word Zadok. Okay, we're going to go on to the next spelling, which right here, this spelling adds a hey on the end, Zadokah. And it's got two Strong's numbers, and it's a noun. This one's definitely a noun, but it's the quality. It's the attribute of righteousness, whether it's of Elohim or of government, in a case or a cause, or as a vindication. It also means piety and virtue, doing right, justice, deliverance, victory, alms, and charity. So there's a little bit of a new flavor of meaning in here. The alms, charity, piety, and virtue be things that were added, and then it's the quality of this is the word for righteousness. Here's how it's been used in the scriptures. Righteousness, vast majority of the time. The only thing that stuck out to me was moderately. That didn't seem to make any sense. It would be a verse. It would be interesting to go look at. Okay, now since we added another letter, we do have some more interesting words and components to work with. The hey on the end is a valid suffix, her or hers. We still have the zadi dalet in front, just like we did before, side, flank, party, and argument. We still have the dalet kuf, just like we did above, but we also have two new words that are not in Strong's, but I did find them in Klein's. Dalet kuf hey is minute, the thinnest part, thin and lean. It's the same as the root of it. And then we also have arising and ascending as kuf hey. So that was kind of new and got added in. So now I could do something with these subcomponents and come up with something that says the side is rising and ascending, or a party in the argument is arising and ascending. So the side of something's elevated, or one side in an argument is being elevated. In the components I can see that. And when I looked at the letters, if I use the hey, which is something you would want to do if you're translating, I put this here, if you're translating something, you'd want to consider all these options when you're looking at how to translate a verse. Because it could be her decision for righteousness has been chosen and elevated into place above others, or her side of an argument has been lifted up to a higher level, or her banner of righteousness is lifted up on a pathway, since the hey on the end could be a valid suffix. Or we could end up with things like this now, since we have the added letter. A decision for righteousness has been chosen and elevated into place above others, and it's manifested. It actually comes into expression. One side of an argument has been lifted up to a higher level through the ruach of virtue and piety, because remember the hay represents the ruach, and we've got the virtue and piety being added into the definition. We could say the banner of righteousness is lifted up on the pathway by the feminine ruach, because it's definitely a feminine noun because of the hey ending. So anyway, those are the things that I came up when we did Zadokah. Okay, now there's one more spelling that's kind of interesting, and it's missing in Strong's. You won't find this in Strong's. I've found it in the scriptures, because they'll drop the tav and change it to a hey and point you to the Strong's for the hey, and they don't have a Strong's entry with the tav on the end. So this would be Zadokoth. Now in Klein's, it means righteous, pious woman. That's the definition for it, and the only definition for it. Now, when I've seen this when I've come across it in verses, I have found this translated as righteousness. No mention of the pious woman. And I've got a few samples here. There's other verses, but you could go into Psalms 89:16, Matthew 6:33 in the Peshitta, and Isaiah 54:17. Now, Psalms 89:16 is, "In thy name shall they rejoice all the day, and in thy righteousness shall they be exalted. In thy righteous pious women they'll be exalted." Or look at this verse in Isaiah 54:17. You're all familiar with this one. "No weapon formed against us shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahuwah, and their righteousness," or pious woman, "is of me, saith Yahuwah." So you still have the Zadi Dalet like we did before. We have the very little small thing like we did before. The only thing that's changing now is this ends in Kuf Tav instead of Kuf Hey. And Kuf Tav is inclines as a hand or a handle. So that means that the ideas from the subcomponents is going to shift, because now we have the hands of the side or party in an argument. Or we have the party in an argument, its handle. Okay? So it's fascinating to me that the hands of righteousness are equated inclines with the pious righteous woman because of this right here, the hand handle. I thought, oh, this is kind of interesting. So then, once I got into looking at the letters, I've got a decision for righteousness has been chosen and elevated into place above the others through covenant because of the Tav, or the sign or mark. A decision for righteousness has been chosen and elevated and put into place above others. Okay, because remember that I'm dealing with the Tav. Okay, on one side of the argument has been lifted up to a higher level as a marked sign or through a covenant. One side of an argument has been lifted up to a higher level and reached its conclusion or come to completion. Then I thought about the banner of righteousness is lifted up on the pathway by pious women. Or the banner of righteousness is lifted up on the pathway through the fulfillment of covenant hands. That was fun. I enjoyed, I thought you would enjoy this Tav ending word. I enjoyed it when I found it, and I wanted to share it. Okay, we're about done. Things to ponder and its relationship to the throne. So this study, is being done week 27, and you know why we're doing it. I've talked about it quite a bit. If you missed last week's study on the throne, though, be sure you go back and watch it. Now, in the Psalms below, let's hone in on the word justice, because in Psalm 89:14 it says, "Justice and judgment are the habitation of thy throne. Mercy and truth shall go before thy face." So this is the first word we did, this Zadok. Zadok and judgment are the habitation of thy throne. Okay, so his habitation and dwelling place of his throne is in righteousness. Our world today is certainly struggling with how far apart certain groups of people are in our society, and how they define what is justice and righteousness is way different. I know we all long for the final Sukkot gathering, where we will all be dwelling in unity, and how words are defined and what they all mean. Until then, I think it is interesting to consider the next two verses in this psalm. "Blessed is the people that know the joyful sound. They shall walk, O Yahuwah, in the light of thy countenance." Okay, we just did the wise virgins and the festival of new oil. And this blue, the joyful sound, blessed are the people who shamar, guard, keep, and do the Kodesh Mikra of trumpets. It's the word teruah, it's the trumpets. Be sure to watch our week 27 video and also our Feast of Trumpets Moedim videos, because this understanding in this word study is going to overlap there. You see, blessed is the people that know the Kodesh Mikra of trumpets. They know the trumpets. And they are going to walk in the light of thy countenance. This will take you all the way into Gad the seer, once I'm done with all the videos for this week. Okay, Psalm 89:16, next verse. "In thy name shall they rejoice all the day." They're going to we're supposed to have a Kodesh Mikra all day long for trumpets. And in thy righteousness shall they be exalted. And in thy Zedekoth, that's the Tav word, thy righteous pious women's hands they shall be exalted, or they shall be exalted into the fulfillment of the covenant, they shall be exalted. I have a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this one, and I hope you do too. So the thing to ponder is what you have learned in this word study and how you apply it to your sitting on that throne and your dispensing and your being the hands of justice and righteousness. Because it starts right here, right now, in your own family, in your own life, and in the people you have immediate connections with. I reflect upon the timing of the Charlie Kirk assassination happening just before the Feast of Trumpets and consider it a loud sound. I mean, the media is certainly sounding various messages about it now. It's all over the place. It's like a blasting on the media, the sounding on the media to people of this event with different understandings of righteousness. I can tell you that. I pray that it really is the turning point for many to Tzedakah, as Yah defines it. Shalom, and I hope you enjoyed this word study. Please stay tuned for more. Please click the like button and leave me some comments. Shalom.
He is somebody, yeah. Body all the time, never takes a break, he's always right.